So I start recording. You don't have to start right now. I don't know why you have a notepad. It almost feels like I should have a notepad.
I don't know. I always have a notepad in case I want to write something down. But if I think of something I want to say, maybe I'll write it down.
Maybe. Or maybe you will take notes and
maybe
then hold them against me.
Maybe it's just to make myself feel more comfortable.
Maybe.
Weapon.
You know it's recording, right? I mean, I will keep them.
Don't tell you I threatened you with a pen.
So shall we start?
Okay.
Great. Well, yeah, thank you, Matthew, for accepting this invitation for an interview. It's more of a chat, and you have seen some of them before, so I'm glad that you did. Now you know what I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you. And yeah, as always, I will just set up a 15-minute timer so that I won't take too much of your time, although I would love to. And yeah, we will have some chat about academia, and maybe I will learn some stuff from that.
Sure.
Most likely, right? So, as this timer is going, so we had a couple of really productive days here. Thank you for having me at Coventry for the second time.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks. And I want to just start off with that. How do you stay motivated? Really, I mean, you're doing quite a lot. You have been into meetings. You came talk to us. How do you organize everything? Because I have some responsibilities and it's already overwhelming me. How do you deal with much more?
Yeah, I have a lot of calls on my time. That is challenging. I guess I prioritize research, especially when it's helping the research of others. I feel guilty if I'm holding back my PhD students or postdocs because I don't make time for them. So I would prioritize discussions with people who I'm collaborating with. So if one is not motivated by one's own research, then I think you're researching the wrong thing. So I would say that I've chosen my research speciality. It wasn't thrust upon me. Working on projects with people that I chose and requested to work on. So there's kind of a natural motivation there. The hard part is balancing that with the other tasks that perhaps you're not so motivated with and requires some careful time management.
Like the administrative stuff and things coming from the university, you mean?
Yeah, I have a large administration role at the minute, which can be challenging. But I guess something I've learned just in the last few months is the need to perhaps manage people's expectations. I've been used to just saying, yes, I'll do that, get that done, but then just recently, if we say that to everything, one runs out of time. So learning to not necessarily say no, but at least manage people's expectations about when you'll get stuff done.
Or useful. Do you delegate? Is there?
Yes, that's something else that I'm learning to do at the moment. Amir, my postdoc, has found himself being given more varied tasks lately than perhaps he did previously. So I'm thankful for him picking up some of that, and my other colleagues as well. So yeah, delegation is really hard, especially if you're not used to it, but it's necessary.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we talked about your position. So you are a permanent member of this faculty. Mm-hmm. You're have motivation for research, and you're really producing a lot. We talked about that slightly. So you produced about 10 papers just last year, and you already have 4 in early 2022. So I'm coming from the mathematics background, and these numbers are crazy to me, in a sense. So
I think partly you have to adapt to the different communities. So I am, my degrees were in mathematics, but my job title is in computer science, and in at least my part of computer algebra. It follows largely the computer science tradition when it comes to publishing, which is to say that one publishes often and quickly. And so that's quite different to your part of mathematics, where there's an expectation to kind of get everything complete and put it into one big paper. So probably I don't necessarily recognize those numbers that you said, and it may be that some of those numbers are things that we might call extended abstracts, things that we don't really consider proper publications. I mean, I work in the UK, And one of the, as with every country, there's good and bad aspects. One of the things I think is quite good is that the way the government evaluates the researchers at universities in the UK via a system called the REF, which by coincidence we're going to find out the results of tomorrow. But one of the good things about that system is it prioritizes quality over quantity. So basically every time we make one of these REF submissions, which is about every 6 or 7 years, a researcher has to pick roughly their 4 best papers from these years. These are what gets submitted to the government and undergoes a review. So the fact that one had published 20 papers doesn't help them get a better score in that exercise. You've got to ensure that you have a small number of really, really good ones. So that's kind of what the university and the government, and by them the university, focus on. And so that's so I wouldn't say I chase publication counts, but one has a publication strategy. So sometimes I will be publishing a paper of for a high quality journal where I guess I have in my mind that might be one of the ones that go into my top 4 and go to the government. Sometimes though I'll publish a paper at a workshop where I'm not really thinking about that. I'm just more thinking that I want to go to this workshop, meet these people, engage in discussions on this topic, and because of the computer science system of doing things, that means writing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really unheard of to me in mathematics. That most of the math conferences might have a post proceedings, if any. Right?
So for me, I really like this because I like reading something before I talk to someone about it. My PhD students will know that I'll regularly ask them to submit in writing their latest ideas before we have their meeting where we discuss them. A lot of them don't want to do that. They want to discuss with me first so that they can write it down correctly. But I can't really offer the same quality of feedback until I've seen it written down. I struggle to fully understand everything until I've got it in black and white.
I actually have to thank you about that, because I mean, like keeping minutes of the meetings or like keeping some notes beforehand. Maybe it's coming from James, maybe it's directly you, but I mean, you both are really like keeping notes of things, and I mean, it benefits me when I have the notes. Sometimes I don't. I mean, sometimes I just do exactly what you said.
So I picked up the habit of rigorous note taking from James, who was my former boss when I was at Bath, and I noticed him taking notes all the time, and I, like you, realized how useful that was for me, and then I started taking it myself.
I mean, he was still doing that even when he was in a slave.
I know, right? Yeah, I've not yet been tested to that extent. Not yet broken anything.
Fingers crossed that you will never need to. Yeah. And what do you think about the different positions? So in the university or in different institutions?
So I mean, you mentioned I'm quite productive. I mean, the position I'm in is what we call at Coventry a research-focused position. So there is more expectation on me to produce research, and on the other hand of that, I do less teaching than many of my colleagues. I still do some teaching. I'm proud and happy to do that, but so there's kind of a swing and roundabout, as we say there. So I have that expectation. It's something that's grown over the years. When I first came to Coventry, Coventry is what we would say in the UK a teaching-focused university, but that doesn't mean it's an exclusively teaching university. We still do a lot of research here, but we like our research to be focused. So the idea is we don't do tons of research on everything. We do a small amount of research on a number of focused things, but really try and achieve excellence on those things.
And would you say that it's more industry focused or like more pure like science focused? Because I was in a industry focused small university in Turkey that I got my first master's in one. I was doing math in that, but I mean there was most of the math department was more about like just applications to industry. And I thought maybe some universities are like that, and it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if Coventry is one of them.
So Coventry is historically got very close links with industry. Its degree courses are often created with a lot of input from industry about the skills required. So in our computer science degree course, while of course we do some theoretical computer science, there's also a lot of focus on the latest techniques in software design and continuous integration and things like that. So Coventry, yes, it has close relationships with industry. How does that pertain to the research? I guess there is a lot of applied research at Coventry, but that's not really how at least how I would frame things. If you stay in the UK long enough, you can't escape the word impact.
Okay.
So this is a word that, again, coming from this government review exercise, but also every single research grant we apply for is expected to have impact. So what is impact? Impact is some benefit of your research beyond the initial writing of the papers that you do. So one of the easiest ways to evidence impact is to work with companies on industrial problems, but it's not the only way to evidence impact. And I would say that with my research, I try to articulate the impact as through the improvements to the software solvers that are used by other scientists, and so the impact is perhaps indirect through there. The DoCAD project that we work on has a work package dedicated to improving tools in systems biology, and so we're making those improvements to biology through improving the algebraic tools that are used to solve those biology problems. So that is impact, but it's not linked to a particular industrial company.
Industrial company, yeah. But we do have some industrial partners too, right? And there's the MapleSoft, and there's some other people.
We have a great relationship with MapleSoft, the software developer, and again, we view that as a way to ensure the impact of our work. If we come up with a great new algorithm and we write a wonderful paper about it, that's a good start. But it may be that for bad luck or whatever reason, that paper just doesn't get noticed by the community. But if you have your work implemented in a product like Maple that's used all around the world in tons of universities and companies, that greatly increases the chance that someone will pick up and start using your algorithm. So we view MapleSoft as a partner to help maximize the impact of our work. And we had a lot of good relationships with them.
Yeah, plus they would also advertise like a secondary advertisement, right? So if it is in Maple, then they would also make a case that there's a package that can be used for such and such issues.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if your code's in Maple, there's usually a Maple help page that will be referring to your papers, and then of course Maple, when they're promoting their product, will often focus that promotion on the latest new features that may be yours if your work's in there.
I hope we have some extra time. So I want to also ask about the voluntary work, because you're also working with ACM 6M, there's CASC. I mean, this is just more towards the general good.
I'm the PC chair of CASC, and I am currently the treasurer of 6M. So you're asking me how I got those roles?
No, I'm asking more how hard they are. I mean, treasurer.
I can tell you how I first got it.
Sure.
So I became treasurer of 6M through a well-documented process where you put your name forward for an election and the 6M members vote. But before that, I was involved with 6M for I think about 5 years as their information director, which is a posh way of saying the guy who runs the mailing lists and website. And I can tell you how I got that job. That's not an elected role. There I wrote an email to the then 6M chair complaining that the website was out of date. And I think the response was, you sound like the right person to be running it.
I see. So you really walked into it. Yeah. You walked into the line. I see. But every 2 years, right? There are elections, I guess.
Yeah. So the 6M committee positions are every 4 years. I think they're 4-year positions.
Well, what about CASC? So that conference, now you're the PC committee chair. I mean, that must be a lot of work.
Yes, it is a lot of work, but I guess it's a type of work that I quite enjoy. So as the PC chair, I oversee the reviewing of papers. I enjoy reviewing papers, although it is work, but I don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are different ways one can serve the community, and I find playing my role in the peer review process and the conference program process a fairly enjoyable way of doing that. It's important that we all play roles like that, or the community would grind to a halt, I would say.
like I'm trying to play like tiny roles, right? I mean, so I have a special session with Amir, and all that, and even that is a lot of work. And like then you think about that special session turning into many special sessions, and then the conference, then the program committee chair. So I mean,
yeah, I mean,
just levels of.
I guess this is what I was trying to hint at. That to me, somehow organizing the special session seems a little bit more stressful because you guys are trying to recruit your speakers at the moment, whereas luckily with Cask, although we advertise the call for papers and then people tend to put themselves forward without too much nagging. I don't really like nagging,
and it's a different dynamic, I guess. But especially trying to find speakers can be not stressful necessarily, but maybe annoying because we send invitations, and all the negative answers come in like a barrage, right? I mean, they come in first, and then you get disappointed and discouraged. And hopefully, over time, things will pick up. But at the moment, we are just we're in the red. I don't like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I think you have to invite a lot of people, and then some of them.
Ooh.
Oh, we're out.
Well, that's the time. Yeah.
Okay.
But you were saying, you invite a lot of people.
Yeah, and hopefully some of them will say yes. I mean, so I've been involved in this a little bit when it came to setting up the SC Squared community, and you got to find the people who are motivated to come and talk. And once you've got enough of them in one place, I'm sure you'll have an enjoyable time.
And you'll make sure to read the extended abstracts beforehand.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for having this chat with me.
You're welcome.
All right. Yeah. That's
Pleasure.
it.
Okay.